Hey everybody, I am on the line right now with one of the top tag teams in the world. They're the AEW World Tag Team Champions, but they also have a new book coming out. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. How are you doing today?
Good, man. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're great. Thanks, man.
Killing the business from backyards to the big leagues. I have my copy of it, but it comes out tomorrow everywhere. I mean, how are you guys feeling about this? Because it's not, you usually talk about, pre-match jitters and that sort of thing from a wrestling standpoint, but what kind of perspective do you have on, having a book come out? It's a pretty big deal.
Right. Man, it's a different feeling. I'm pretty nervous, but I think we did a good job because it took us so long to write. It was a 2-year process. So we've given the book to quite a few of our inspirations, like a Mick Foley or a Chris Jericho and our family, and they've read it, and we got a high praise back from them. We got great feedback, and they're telling us that they're not being biased or anything, and I hope they're not. But they said it's a great read, so we're hoping that people enjoy it.
Yeah, and I could just add, I was going to say that, man, the entire process was grueling because we decided to write the entire thing on our iPhones, and it so happened to coincide around the time that we were opening AEW. So our workload was really intense, and at times this book felt like such a burden to me. Like I was just like, why did we do this? And because it was just countless hours. And if you break down the dollar per minute, like I don't think we made, we probably made like 2 cents a second or something crazy. Like it wasn't much, but it was this for us was like a labor of love, and we poured our heart and soul into it. And we wanted it to be accurate. We wanted it to be truthful. We had to fact check whether that meant going on Google or Cage Match. And then not only that, we had to fact check the personal stories. So like I had to have so many conversations with family members, my mom and dad, and I wanted to get the dates right and the stories right. And we just wanted it to be just perfect. And we switched off. I would write one chapter and I would tag Nick in, and Nick would do the next, and just trying to keep that timeline moving forward without stepping on each other or repeating stories. That was another thing. So it was really difficult to tell the story we wanted to tell and do it accurately. And like Nick said, it took 2 years, and even then, before then, I remember being in Japan in 2008, and I had journals, our Dragon Gate days, and that's stuff that I referenced I went back to try to get my mindset back in those days. So like, I'm glad I did that. And I had a lot of documentation that I went through, and we had to blow off the dust on old photo albums and old CD-ROMs and find old pictures. Just finding the pictures for a book, I didn't realize how difficult that was, like to get pictures that you had ownership over, or to track down old photographers that didn't even take pictures of wrestling shows anymore. Like that in itself was like almost as difficult as writing the book, was getting all the pictures that would actually work in the book. So it really was a labor of love, but I'm so happy now that it's finished and it's complete and I could hold the book. I'm thankful we did it. But at times I like I said, I would tell Nick, was this the biggest mistake of our career, doing a book and opening up a wrestling company at the same time?
So, I mean, I think it's gonna make you more relatable because you have different stages of your career. Like you have the fans you picked up from California, and then you were in TNA, so you have fans from there, and then you have fans from back on the indies now with AEW. But I think, and I've said this when I read Swoggle's book too, you guys are still like we grew up in the same generation. Like WWF was like it, and like you had the same probably stuff, like bed sheets, birthday cake,
Right.
so I related to it on that level too, because you see so much on TV and then on the YouTube stuff, but this provides like a different perspective, especially with some of the stuff you were going through, like before he made it big, and more background of the TNA stuff, because there's only so much of it. Like, you hear the negatives about changing your name and what went wrong, but reading this, it's good to see like you guys are still trying to make the best of it and have fun. So I think people are really going to find out a lot more about you that maybe you haven't had a chance to share with them yet.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because Matt actually brought this up a few days ago to me, where there hasn't really been anyone from our like indie scene, if you will, or our indie era, I guess you could say, who actually has written a book. Like Chris Hero hasn't written one, El Generico hasn't, Kevin hasn't, Colt hasn't, like those crop of guys. And it's probably interesting to hear that generation of and our take on how wrestling is and how our upbringing was. And that's why I think people will like this book a lot. It's because it's so brand new to anyone that has read books, and it's very different from a lot of that, because like Matt said earlier, we're tagging in and out of different chapters. He'll take one, I'll take the other, and hopefully that doesn't confuse anyone, but I think that makes it interesting as well.
You guys are obviously having a big week. You're coming off of the title match. I mean, what can't you say about it? It's getting praised, and rightfully so. This week you have a match coming up that originally I think got out last week, that the graphic went up, but it got put off a week. Do you like have any thoughts on why it got pushed back? If it was just maybe scheduling, and really what, like, is this the first step of another chapter for you guys? Because it seems like this you want to work with the younger teams. So
I'll take the first part of that question, and then Matt, you could answer the second part. That was announced like it wasn't even supposed to be announced, because we had known that it was going to be this week, because we needed an extra week to recover from that FTR match. We all four of us, we were pretty banged up, so we just needed a little bit more time. We knew the match was going to happen, but we just needed that one more week off. So that's why that happened.
Yeah, and then I was going to say, for me, this match, it's like we're switching roles, because about 10 years ago, there was this young team that people were talking about, and they got an opportunity on on a national television show, and they wrestled the more established team. And I'm talking about Gen Me versus the Motor City Machine Guns on Spike TV for Impact, and we were kind of like top flight, and nobody really had heard of us, but there was a little bit of buzz about us, and we got this giant opportunity, and we had this big upset, and we were kind of made overnight. Like, people took us seriously. We beat a team like the Motor City Machine Guns. That was one of their top acts, and so I felt like we could recreate that and have these young kids come in. They have a little bit of buzz, but nobody's really heard of them. And I think we could make them stars overnight. Whether or not there's an upset, I'm not going to give that away. But the fact that they're going to come in and there's going to be a giant magnifying glass on them, a giant spotlight to show the world what they're capable of. Because I've seen, it took me literally 30 seconds of watching one of their YouTube highlight clips to see that I like their aesthetic. I like the way that they looked. I like the way that they moved. Their tag team combinations were original and unique. I saw enough in 30 seconds to know I wanted to do something with them. And there's a genuine story. It's real. When they hit me up on Instagram, they sent me a message. I never check my messages on Instagram. For some reason, I gravitated towards these guys, and I clicked it. And within 5 minutes, I was already getting an email out to them about getting them on the next Dark, so, and I knew the goal in mind was to eventually wrestle them. And I wanted to, I didn't know it was going to come so soon. I thought maybe, it would come in a couple of months, but, I pitched it to Tony Khan, and immediately he bit, and he's like, "No, we're going to do it. We're going to do it like next week." So I was like, okay, like, great. Nick and I are always ready for more, and always ready to put over the younger talent. And I'm excited. I can't wait to mix it up with him.
Something else that kind of made its way out over the weekend, Shaquille O'Neal, it seems like people have their own theories on where that's going, but just speak as wrestlers, but also speak as Los Angeles Lakers fans, what that means to have, the big Aristotle, like part of your promotion. Like, what does that mean to you guys?
Oh man, it's crazy. He was backstage at the pay-per-view, and when we got backstage, he actually stood up and gave us a standing ovation for our match. And to me, it was insane. For one, we were wearing the Lakers colors, and FTR were wearing the Celtics colors. So that's one regret actually, was not getting a picture with him in our Lakers outfits. But anyway, yeah, that was so cool to have him back there and to give him a fist bump. And God, he's so big. Like, you don't realize how massive he really is until you see him in person. It's insane. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he does. I'm all for it, because we need to try to get more eyeballs on our product, and that's definitely a way to get like fans that probably wouldn't watch AEW Dynamite, because he's a celebrity, let's face it, and he's got a lot of fans, so he's probably going to bring a lot of new eyeballs to whatever he does.
Yeah, I think deceptively tall is as big.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how big he is, but deceptively tall is definitely fitting. And I would agree that, he transcends sports. Like, he did that a long time ago. He's just, not to beat it over the head with a pun, but he's larger than life. And I'm very interested to see what comes next from him and you guys. You have the match with Top Flight on Dynamite this week, and the book comes out tomorrow. Young Bucks killing the business from backyards to the big leagues. You guys can buy it wherever books are sold. Matt and Nick, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having us.